Welcome back guys to another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to create the door for our building system. Don't mind the fact that I have a new character and some more items. You are going to get these tutorials in the following videos, but since a lot of people requested doors, I'm posting that tutorial first. And yeah, let's begin. So what I've done already is I've implemented the assets for the door and for the window. We're going to create window in the next video, and you can find the download link in the description like always. And I'm gonna begin by creating a new trace channel in project settings under the engine collision tab here. I'm gonna add a new trace channel and I'm gonna call this door build channel. Accept. I'm gonna close this. Now I'm gonna go to my third person character and I'm gonna open the build system variables buildables database, and I'm going to add a new entry which is going to be a door. The static mesh is going to be a door static mesh, and I'm gonna use an empty icon for this because I don't have an icon for it, so the cost is going to be 2 logs. And also what I've done is I've changed the names to wall window and wall door so I wouldn't get confused. And so compile and save, and if we go to the game, press B, we can see here we have a door, but we can't build it yet. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm actually going to create this actor. So I'm gonna go to build mode and I'm going to add a new blueprint class which is going to be a static mesh actor class, and I'm gonna call this a buildable door. And for the static mesh component, I'm gonna select a door static mesh. There we go. And I'm also going to change this mobility to movable since we are going to open and close the door. I'm gonna leave this open because we are going to add some blueprints to this. And the next thing what I'm gonna do is I'm going to open up my buildable wall. Since we are going to plant the door inside of here, I'm gonna select this static mesh, and for now I'm gonna change this to door simple so we would see the door aisle. And I'm gonna add a new component which is going to be a box collision. And well, I'm gonna do this the wrong way first so you would know why I'm doing some things differently, because if we would open up our door static mesh, then inside of here we can see that this is the 0 location and it's on the side of the mesh rather than in the middle like for the walls, so we will need to adjust this location. But for now I'm gonna leave it like it is. I'm gonna make this wider and I'm gonna make this higher like so. There we go. And also I'm gonna rename this to door instead of a box. The next thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my third person character, and we need a new function over here in our build mode. So I'm gonna open up the build mode functions and I'm going to duplicate the build foundation. I'm gonna call this build door, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna change the foundation build channel trace channel from foundation build channel to door build channel. And since I don't want my door to be built in the middle of nowhere but only in this specific location, then I'm going to delete these bottom nodes which come from this did we hit foundation if branch from the false. I'm gonna delete these, and we need a new function over here, so I'm gonna duplicate this one, did we hit foundation, and I'm gonna call this did we hit door. What we can do here is delete all of these foundations and boolean checks. Same goes for the cast. Now I'm going to cast to buildable wall, and as buildable wall I'm gonna get door, this collision box that we created, and I'm gonna check if this is equal to the component that we have hit, like so. I'm gonna move these closer, like so. Condition, execution, and cast failed to this empty return node. There we go. Compile and save. Back to build door. So I'm gonna delete this did we hit foundation, and I'm gonna drag in did we hit door instead. And as in the previous videos, actor goes to hit actor and component goes to hit component from our line trace by channel out hit result. And the execution pin to if branch, transform to set transform, and return value to the if branch condition. And for the false, I'm gonna connect false to make build ghost red. There we go. Now back to the event graph. In the build mode function, I'm gonna add a new pin, and I'm gonna add build door function to pin number 8, since my door is ID 8. There we go. And the next thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my left mouse button, build something event function rather, and here under this switch I'm gonna add another pin, and I'm going to spawn actor from class, transform to our build transform. The class is going to be a buildable door, and the execution goes to stop build mode. I'm gonna reroute this a bit like so. There we go. Compile and save. And I think we have done all that we needed to do. So let's test this out. Press play. I'm gonna pick up a few resources since we have a cost now. Let's build a floor, wall. Let's create all these wall doors, and let's select a regular door. And there we have this issue which I mentioned before. The doors are not aligning perfectly. So let's fix that first. Let's go back to our buildable wall. And if you are using the same meshes as I am, then you can follow these same values. What I need to do here is I need to move this 50 pixels to the left and 10 pixels up, like so. And I think that should adjust everything just nicely. There we go. Floor, wall, door. Boom. And door is in this spot. Nice. So now let's actually open this. So I'm gonna use the keyboard E button to open up my doors. So what I'm gonna do is go back to my third person character, and I will move these aside like so. And I'm gonna do a keyboard E. There it is, event. And on pressed, I'm gonna do a line trace by channel. There we go. And for the start and end positions, I'm just going to go to my build function, and I'm gonna use these values same as for our building trace channels. There we go. Connect to the start, connect to the end. I'm gonna move this back, this up. Nice. The next thing what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break the out hit result, because I want to check if this actor has a tag, and it doesn't have one yet. So I'm gonna go to the buildable door, select the buildable door self, and search for a tag. I'm gonna add an element which is going to be a door, compile and save. And now from the hit actor, I'm going to check if the actor has tag, and the tag needs to be a door. So now from the line trace by channel return value, I'm gonna do a if branch to see if we actually did hit something, and then I'm going to check if it has a door tag, like so. Now the next thing what we need to do is I'm going to create an interface, because we might use this for some more opening functions. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a blueprint interface, and I'm going to call this open something, and I'm going to rename this function to open something as well, like so. Now back in our buildable door, I'm going to go to class settings and add a new interface, which is going to be this open something interface. Compile and save. And now back in our third person character, we can do a open something message. And for the target, I'm going to use this hit actor, like so. There we go. Compile and save. I'm going to comment this keyboard E. Oh, well, I've named this differently here. So E keyboard key open door, like so. Now we can go to our buildable door, and inside of here I'm going to add a couple of variables. The first one is going to be is door open, which is going to be a boolean check. The next one is going to be open door rotation, which is going to have a float type, and the last one is going to be closed door rotation. There we go. Now in the event graph, I'm gonna do a begin play event, and I'm gonna drag in my static mesh component. I will get the world rotation. I'm gonna right click on the return value to split the pins to get the X, Y, and Z axis. And I'm going to set the open door rotation. And for this, I will drag from the Z axis and do +1 float plus float. Then I'm going to drag from the static mesh component again, and I'm gonna set world rotation to make sure that this is set correctly. I'm gonna split these pins and I'm gonna connect X, Y, and Z to open door rotation, like so. The next thing what I'm gonna do is a if branch check, and since in Unreal Engine if you rotate things in blueprints, the scaling is from -180 degrees till +180 degrees, and if you like go beyond these limits, this might not work perfectly. So to fix this, what I'm gonna do is, well, I will move this down a bit first, and I'm going to do a float minus float, and I'm gonna do a -90 degrees, since I want my doors to rotate 90 degrees. If you want more or less, then you need to change this value to yours. And I'm going to check then if this is smaller than -179, since this is like the ending position for the rotation maximum that we can, as low as we can go. And next, if this is true, if this is actually like smaller than 197, then I'm going to set closed rotation. And to make this value, I'm gonna drag from this -90, and I'm going to do a plus float plus 180, and this will return the leftover value that we have that has went under the minus 180. And then, since this is a minus value, I'm going to do a ABS, absolute float, which is going to flip the minus sign to a plus sign. And then I'm going to do a minus float, and I'm going to disconnect this, and I'm going to do 180 minus this value that we received from this leftover. And then I can connect this to the closed door rotation. The next thing what I'm gonna do is here in the false, I'm gonna again set the closed door rotation, and if this return value is bigger than minus 179, then I can just directly set this to our closed rotation value, like so. There we go. The next thing what we need is actual functions which open and close the doors. So I'm gonna add a custom event. I'm gonna call this open door, and for this I will do a if branch check. I will drag in my static mesh component. I'm going to get world rotation again, split this, and for the z-axis I'm gonna do a near equal float, return value to the condition, and this needs to be a b, z needs to go to the b, and in the a we need to do a closed door rotation, like so. And the error tolerance I'm gonna set to 1, like so. The next thing what I'm gonna do is, if this is true, if we have met this rotation, then I'm gonna set is door open to true, since we have opened the door. But if this is false, then I'm gonna drag from the static mesh component and I'm gonna set world rotation, connect this to false, break, split the pins, connect X, Y, and I'm gonna do Z minus float minus 1, and connect this to the Z. And then from here I'm gonna do a small delay of a 0.01 seconds, and after this is done I'm gonna relaunch the open door event. So basically we're going to open the door for we're gonna rotate this 1 pixel if it's not already open, and it's going to loop this all the time until we reach this rotation, and then it's gonna set doors to be open. Now I'm gonna copy this whole thing except for the event itself down here, and I'm gonna do another custom event, and this is going to be close door, like so. And what I need to change here is this closed door rotation needs to be open door rotation. This float minus float needs to be float plus float. On the true we need to set this to is door open false, since we are closing the door. And the end event needs to be close door event, like so. And we need one more thing. We need to use our interface, so I'm gonna search for open something event. There we go. And I'm gonna do a if check to see if the door is open. And if the door is open, then we are going to close the door. But if it's not open, then we are going to open the door, like so. Compile and save. Press E, the doors are opening. Press E again, the doors are closing. Awesome. Let's test it out even more. And we have our doors opening and closing. Awesome! So that's going to be it for this video, and in the next video we are going to add windows to our build system. So see you guys in the next video.